What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Today I would like to talk about buying the next pullback because I am buying the next pullback. Now, in this video, I would like to show you why actually. We'll go over some altcoin charts. We'll start with my favorite, CeDeFi. We'll go over some altcoins on my watch list, on my DCA 2023 watch list to talk about like, hey, why is the next pullback an opportunity for us that we should grab? So if you like the content, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. There's a Patreon link down below, by the way, where you can have a lot of exclusive information, exclusive videos, blah, 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 a lot. So first off, I would like to talk shortly about CeDeFi. Now, CeDeFi is CeDeFi. It's been doing really well. It went from 50 cents all the way up to $2. So CeDeFi right here did a 4x. If you can take it from the bottom up to here, 300% up, 4x from the bottom. Now, that only, of course, benefits you if you actually bought the bottom for some reason. Otherwise you wouldn't have pulled off a 4x, but still the amount that you would have made is pretty good. Now when it comes to CeDeFi specifically, I think that this whole area between 290 and 340, give or take, is the next huge resistance. Doesn't mean we can't go down in the shorter term, but if we do have another push, then I can see it go up all the way there. Now, what I am looking at is the RSI on the weekly. If you see this RSI on the weekly, it's now flashing green. And this kind of means that it's now really getting exhausted. It's really overbought, and that goes for a lot in crypto right now. Like I said, we will go over some other charts. But that usually means that a pullback is coming soon. Now, however, if we take a look at previous times that CeDeFi was flashing like that, we have one example basically where the RSI was also this high, and that was over here. There, CeDeFi was sitting at around, it depends where on the week you want to take it, but like, yeah, between $6 and $10. So let's say $8, right? What happened after that? Well, what happened after that is you can see that the RSI pulled back a little bit, but it wasn't completely done, and it had its last push. And what was interesting, according to the price, it came from $10 all the way down to $7. That was the pullback before it pulled off another 2.5x. So it is possible that before we really see a huge pullback in the market, that we will see something like that where the RSI cools down a little bit, has one last push, and then goes down, which means that the price could do something like this and then really goes down, right? Now, this pullback is already something that I would like to buy because DCA is the way, and it's the best way to get exposure to the market. Because this big pullback that I'm expecting is not the pullback that's going to lead us into the bear market like we did over here, right? And therefore we better can take an example of a coin that's been out there for longer, like for example AVAX. If we look at AVAX, it did something similar, right? What AVAX did in the beginning days of their listing on Binance, at least, it was also flashing green right here. It had a small pullback from around $14 to $10, and even once we got that, it after that came all the way up to $40, and then the RSI could really reset, but we had room here to go down, and we found that new $10 region again, give or take. But then when the RSI was really going up again, AVAX had a lot of room to grow, and that was where the real bull market started. So I do think that in the shorter term, the markets are a little overheated, and we do need to cool off a little bit. Superverse is really doing well as well. It was a little lagging, but it finally managed to do a 3x as well, and that's especially because of the last week where it basically went up 70% in one single week, which is definitely not bad. But a lot of quality altcoins are doing extremely well. We have playable games which is ripping right now, right? And I am taking some profits because this is another coin that I've put a little money into, just to have some exposure, but it 4x or something. So I felt like, okay, man, I'm gonna take that half out of it. I have a good bag of cash right now in case that the market does correct. And in case I'm wrong and it goes up, I still have an exposure to it. That's the best way you can look at it. Altura as well, it's holding up these levels very, very good. And when it comes to Altura, I feel like, yeah, will it ever go down back to these levels? I don't know, man. The further we are into the bull market, the more I doubt that these lower prices will occur again. IMX is ripping. But we must understand, guys, that you have to take your profits at some point as well. If you were exposed to altcoins, then you now must feel like, okay, this wasn't for nothing, right? This wasn't for nothing. If you look at IMX, we are now sitting at where we topped out in March as well, right? And from there, it came down from 160 all the way back to 50 cents, right? We are now basically there again. You should always keep into consideration that we can go down to lower levels. Okay. Now the benefit of a lot of altcoins is that they now finally turned around. A higher low is confirmed in October for a lot of altcoins. And these higher lows show that the trend has finally changed, right? So it's finally a little different than what it was before. Chainlink as well finally put in a higher high after 2 years, almost 1.5 years. So it's changing right now. Falcon Forge doing really well as well. Kind of the same basically in 1.5 years. Finally a high. Ronin chain, it took out this whole range that it's been in for half of 2023, right? Solana has been big, it's the big leader in that basically. But if you have a position in coins like Solana, I do feel like, hey guys, it's been going from $8 towards 70 almost, right? A high cap coin that at 8x. And you should not take your profits? I don't know. Also, flashing green right here. The only two times that we have seen that before was here, where it was basically sitting near its highs, and was over here, where it was also sitting at that runs high. And after that high, it had a correction of, this is probably 50% or something. 66%, right? And again, I'm not saying that we go down 66% from this level, but hey, a decent, good pullback to just reset the market a little bit should definitely be on the table. Now, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance is still in an upwards trend. So although altcoins look very good on their Bitcoin pair or on the dollar pair, on the Bitcoin pair, they're still lagging, right? They're still getting wrecked against Bitcoin, basically, over the longer term. If we do take a look at the others chart, this is an interesting chart. This is the top 125, excluding the top 10. So no USDT, BNB, Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, Solana, ADA, Doge, that kind of stuff, right? It gives a better perspective on altcoins, really. You see that it's also really overheated at this moment, right? We are in this range. This is the top of the range, and this is basically the low side of the range, and these are the mid ranges. But you can see that we are at the top right now, and I know that it's very tempting to now buy altcoins as everything is going up, but do understand that the smarter money is probably going to take their profits and dump on you, okay? Because at resistance you sell, at support you buy. If you feel like, yeah, whatever, I'm in for the long term, it doesn't matter to me, then you can just take a look at a chart like this and be like, hey, this is a complete accumulation phase, basically. You can buy here, you can buy here, you can buy here, right? It doesn't really matter over the long term. You will make gains, and that's probably true. But if you are a little more about, I don't want to, buy too far from the bottom. You don't have to buy the bottom, but the bottom for now is down 56%, right? You could have a bag twice as big if you buy closer to that level. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some profits on altcoins right now that I did had, or that I bought a little bit from, but my big money is still not in altcoins, and soon the time will come that I will do that. When is that? What I'm waiting for actually? Well, what I'm actually waiting for is for a good pullback, right? We were in this range, for example, right here, and we retested it, right? But we were also in this range, right? We went to the upside, but we also retested that. Now we broke out of that, and we are in this upper range, but we haven't retested that yet. A retest is very common with these kind of things, and this is like around 20% down, give or take, right? So it depends on your altcoin, because from basically the last day of October until now, the whole collective altcoin market is up 23%. But again, if we, for example, take a look at CDFI, and we take it from that date, right? CDFI is up with 180%, like completely crazy, right? AVAX, for example, is up since then with 85%, right? A lot of altcoins are up more, but you should also understand that if the others chart goes down with 23%, could also mean that these altcoins go down way more than that. And that's the pullback that I am waiting for to really get into the market, because a lot of these altcoins, they really look a little exhausted, if you ask me. It doesn't mean that they cannot pump over the next 2 weeks or so. It's not like that I'm saying like, hey, I expect a pullback to happen today, right now, but at a certain point, of course, we will get a pullback, right? That's also it's what always happens. If you take a look at the other chart on how it's dominating the crypto space, this is basically altcoins, how altcoins are dominating crypto, you can see that, sorry, it is in an upwards trend, right? Altcoins are doing well compared to the rest of the market, right? But we should also understand that where we are right now, this yellow line, look at this major resistance that we have everywhere and this big support over here. Now we are sitting there again. I can imagine that altcoins can take a good pullback, and therefore the dominance of the other chart goes down again as well. And it might retest this line right here, because we've been in this parallel channel since a long time already. And that would be really a good entry. Now, these are just some charts you do need to take a look at, if I'm honest. However, there is something more bullish. For example, the USDT dominance, right? The USDT dominance shows how much money is sitting in USDT instead of crypto, and that came down. So people were deploying their money into the crypto market, and therefore everything went up, of course. Now we are sitting at major support, right? So you could say like, okay, people are now going to take profits and put it back into USDT. However, every time they did that, we have these two big wicks. So every time USDT is trying to go to the upside, it gets, slapped down again. So as for now, the crypto market is really strong. It is really strong, and it's super bullish at the moment. But my message is, it won't, of course, stay like that forever, right? It won't stay like that forever, and at a certain point, the pullback will definitely be there. Now, what is the reason for a pullback? Well, seasonality, I think. Like I showed before, Bitcoin always, before the halving occurs, has like two bottoms. Right here in 2015, it had two bottoms. Here in the last cycle, it had two bottoms. We had one clear bottom, but we're not even close to that right now. And it's usually doing that because the S&P is doing that, right? Well, the S&P is pretty strong at the moment, but look at this. If you take a look at the S&P on the money supply, so that's how much the S&P is worth against the dollar, on how much the dollar is actually worth right now, right? Then, to put it like that, it's a stupid explanation, but I think you know what I mean. Then you can see that the S&P is sitting at levels where it was in 2001, 2007, 2009, 2021, and now it's there again. Every time it got there, however, it had a big rejection, right? If you put it on a monthly, you can see it a little bit better. Every time we got here, big rejection. Got there, big rejection. Got there, rejection, rejection. And now we're here again. Like, you could say, like, okay, this time is going to be different. And that could be, but it will be the first time in 22 years, right? And I don't know, man. With the potential recession coming up, wars going on and everything like that, I feel like, hey, the macro is doing really well still, right? But if there will be a recession, we will have layoffs and people won't invest money into the market, of course, and then we can definitely see the market going down. And if that happens, hey, what goes down hardest? Yeah, the assets with the lowest liquidity, which is, of course, crypto, and within crypto, that's altcoins. So therefore, I'm still cautious with altcoins. And then to confirm that, I just look at the altcoin chart and be like, okay, this is sitting at huge resistance right now. The dominance of the altcoin market is sitting at huge resistance right now. If we just take a look at the total three, also sitting at huge resistance right now. So although we have these, smaller pumps, like this is a relative small pump that we are seeing right now, although altcoins are 4xing, like in a bull market you can paste a zero behind that, so it's relative small. So although we have these small pumps right now, I do think that we are in for one good correction to shake everybody out of the market, and to make them, take away their beliefs basically, and then continue with the big bull market that we are all waiting for. And that should come in as an opportunity. Like, for example, if you want to buy AVAX because you think it's a good project and you think it might go back to all-time highs, $20 is nice, but if you can buy it at 15 and maybe with a recession even at $10, hey, that's already way more gains, right? And some altcoins probably won't give a fuck about all of this. Like Caspa has been doing really well. We had Nakamoto Games, which has been doing really well. Some always outperform the market, but collectively, overall, they go down quite hard. But if you look at the coins like, for example, ChainGPT, doing extremely good as well. Games for a living only had green months so far, by the way. That's quite interesting to see it like that. IMX as well, like really pumping hard. But again, I have a position in most of these altcoins, not all of them, but most of these altcoins. I have a small position, and I 2-3x my money. And I feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna let that be for nothing, right? Again, if you look at the altcoin market right now, yeah, this is a beautiful pump. But if it does go down, or maybe all the way here, you don't know, right? Before it really goes up, yeah, you don't want to be this pumped to have this for completely nothing, right? You started with $1,000, for example, you had $3,000, and then you write it all the way down again to 1,000. Yeah, that's a waste, right? Better maybe to seal like 2K right there and have some exposure left. But if we go down, deploy that 2K, and then you have 3K at the bottom instead of at the top. And then if we ride the bull market, you can actually make a 40x, I don't know, on 3K instead of 1K. And that's where the real profit is coming in. And if you don't prepare in the meantime by doing so, yeah, you definitely won't get the most out of the bull market. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Tomorrow, I think, yeah, I'm gonna drop a video about some projects that are coming out, which look really interesting, because we've been talking about my watch list right there and some coins right there, and leave your suggestions or comments or whatever. But the way to really make most is, of course, to be in the newer projects. New. Like, you can buy a Solana right now, but the people that bought here are the ones that are going to dump on you at some point, right? So if you buy it like now 6 times as high as the rest, yeah, good luck with that, right? The real money is into the new project. So let's take a look at that tomorrow. For now, like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, be a little careful, enjoy the profits, definitely take them, is what I would do, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye.